All right, we are live. Let's see here. Let's go into the Facebook group. What's up, guys? We are getting ready to go live right now on the call. So first I'm going to pull this up in the Facebook group so I can check everything out. Good morning, by the way, to everyone that is awake this early. Okay, so I'm just prepping this call so we can go live right now. What I'll do, go ahead and drop a 1, guys, if you can hear me well. Drop a 1 if you can hear me well. So this way I can get started here. I'm about to pull up the live call. It's gonna be a blast. Love going live on these calls. Awesome, you guys can hear me well, looking good, looking good. Okay. All right, so let me get started here. Side note, if any proprietary information starts to come up, guys, there's certain regulations we have to follow. If proprietary info comes up, I have to cut the live. So there's a chance we collect the payment on the phone, which I typically don't do on the live, so you guys can see how the full process works. But if any proprietary information starts to get dished out, I'll have to cut the live just for regulations and policies and stuff like that. I am going to ask to have the call recorded prior to, so there'll be that as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Like the video if you're on right now. We have approaching a few dozen people. So go ahead and like the video if you're on. And I'm going to pull up, I'll answer questions at the end. I'm going to get ready to pull up the live right now. So here we go. Getting ready to get started here. And just so you know, this prospect was pre-qualified through my Agency in a Box program. One of the agency owners, Jordan, he already found the lead, pre-qualified them, so I'm actually going to pull his sheet up as well. The replay will be in the Facebook group, as always. Full replay, guys. People charge thousands of dollars for this kind of training, so this is the best Facebook group on sales. That's why I do this stuff live. But again, if there's proprietary information, I will be obligated to shut it down just for policies. But yeah, okay. All right, let's get started.
We go. Steve, sorry for the wait.
That's okay, not a problem.
Hey, Steve, how are you?
Doing well.
Yeah, Steve, so you might have noticed we've got someone else joining us today. He's my head of fulfillment here at Brand Rocket. His name's Robb Quinn. And I'm super excited for him to show you our whole process on how we can help you.
Very good. Does it involve making money?
It might well do. It might well do.
I mean, it better, so.
It's not, you're in the wrong place.
Right, exactly. And hey, Steve, so I just have to tell you, this call is being recorded for quality and training purposes. So right. There we go. But awesome. So, you know, Jordan briefed me already on what we're looking at in your business currently. So is it okay if I just kind of recap that so I can make sure that we're on the same page?
Sure.
Awesome. So right now it looks like that you're trying to focus on commercial contracts. Is that correct?
Correct.
Rocking. Okay, that's great. So we saw the price range in all those, and it looks like your closing ratio is pretty high. It's around 85% from what I see here.
Pretty high, yes.
Awesome. So is that primarily from referrals or cold traffic, or where does that come from exactly?
Mostly referrals.
Mostly referrals? Awesome. Okay. So can I ask you? Oh, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I have a network of dealers around the country. However, my focus has been primarily in Connecticut for the moment. I am looking to expand into other areas, one of them being Texas and the Austin area, and also into the Florida area. Okay. Now, I also, I just want to mention this. Today let's focus on the commercial because, I am adding some additional product lines that may have a different path to market. Some of them are much larger scale, and some of them are, probably in that $35,000 range. I'm helping to reorganize a company out of Boston, which is up in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, it's closer to me. I'm in Martha's Vineyard at the moment.
It's a tough place. Which every town or Vineyard Haven?
Tinsbury, West Tinsbury.
Okay.
Yeah, could be in worse places.
For sure. Anyways, so I figured let's start with this, and then we can go. Once we get through this one, I can talk to you about some other opportunities, that I'm working on, and maybe you can be of service with those. Okay?
Yeah, that'd be great. And if it sounds like I'm typing, it's because I am. I'm just taking notes on everything we're talking about here.
That's fine.
Awesome. So that's really, really impressive that you've done most of that through referrals, so I applaud you for that. How long have you been in business, if you don't mind me asking?
So the U.S. founded it about 11 years ago.
Okay.
Prior to that, I was with a company out of China called Apricus. I was their international business development person, later promoted to CEO, and then left them to found Solar US.
Very nice. Okay. So can I ask you, because you've had a lot of experience, and especially in the business you're in now, have you experimented with running ads and driving leads with cold traffic and working those cold traffic leads?
I have, in the past, yes. Recently, no. Like I say, I haven't been looking for high volume in the past, but it's changing, slowly. I actually was thinking, I wanted to slow down. I had a big office, which I moved back into my home about 6 months ago, just trying to ease off a little bit because I was running all over the planet and just wanted to kind of cool my jets a little bit. And now I'm getting busier than ever, so, a lot of people have been, pulling at me, figuring, okay, I have some more time, like this group in Boston, they want me to come in and organize the marketing program. And, again, to answer your question, I've had boiler rooms, which I've managed and had in-house in the past. I haven't done a lot with the internet and with the advertising on it. And, it's one of the reasons I wanted to speak with you. Just, try to get up to speed. I'm an old school guy.
Well, you said the word boiler room, so I kind of assume that you've been in the game for a while. So I haven't heard that one in a while.
My first company back in 1978. Okay, so probably a little bit before you were born.
Yeah, I'll say I haven't heard that one in a while, so that's pretty fun. No, you're in the right spot. So before I just jump right into what's worked in the past, not everything works the same way for everyone. That's why I'm just trying to get a few more of these gritty details, if that's all right. Awesome. So are you running any type of, are you investing in anything to generate leads right now at all?
Nothing.
Okay. So do you guys have any type of gauge on what that cost per new lead or cost per new contract looks like for you?
Actually, I don't, only because it's been referral, so
right.
The cost of the lead has been minimal. I did have salesmen at my other location. Like I said, I scaled back, looking to ease off a little bit. Now, like I say, I'm starting to get busier and busier today. I have meetings now. I may be putting on 6 sales guys. Meeting will be tomorrow. Friday afternoon. I've had already 2 preliminary meetings. I'm just trying to, like I say, take more of a maybe again, stay more as a CEO than a field person. Where in the past I've gotten very involved in the development and the operation. So, okay. So
yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does. So I know that you're looking to dive into the internet to be able to drive more of these leads. Realistically, I mean, in your perfect world, what would that look like for you if we could drive in leads for you? You're bringing on 6 salespeople. I know you don't want to work in high volume, so what exactly does that look like for you?
Well, okay. On the commercial side, okay, because the 6 salespeople, there will be some residential that will be involved, in it. There's one fellow, that's what I'm saying, and he's basically leaving and taking his sales force with him. He wants to get involved, at a high level with me, so anyways. Lead-wise, since the ratio is very, closing ratio has been very high, and again, probably because it is referral, I'm probably looking to do maybe 1 to 2 deals a month. So, if we're looking at a very high closing ratio, let's just say it gets cut in half because of whatever reason, just to be as conservative. We're not looking for a high volume lead generation on the commercial side.
Sure, which totally makes sense. Yeah, I just want to make sure that we're really clear with our intentions and what you need to see in order to justify the partnership. So some of these questions might sound kind of like common sense or redundant, but it's just to make sure we have that clarification. That's all right.
I appreciate you spending the time.
Yeah, definitely. So in a perfect world, I mean, what are you hoping to gain from this call today?
Well, I need a better understanding of your capabilities, maybe a couple of references, and, obviously a cost, so I can analyze the cost per lead.
Cool. Okay, that's easy enough. And have you already had conversations prior to this one with other companies to kind of see how the internet works a little bit?
Not so much with internet.
Cool.
Other companies that do lead generation, I have spoken to in the past. And again, most of these guys were geared for high volume and wanted definite, high volume commitments from me. And that's where, like I say, I don't need 4,000 leads a month. I wouldn't even know what to do with them. So, like I say, it just didn't work. Most of them were boiler room type operations, not internet driven.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. All right. Well, I know that this is a one-time purchase for your contracts, correct? They sign that deal and then you guys are done with that one deal. Do you do business with them again or no?
Well, the way they worked was they wanted a monthly, commitment of X amount of dollars, and, like I say, there were no guarantees involved, as I say, and I had to do a commitment of, I think, don't hold me to this, but I forget how many months. Mm-hmm. But it was, it was a lot of money with no guarantees, and as I say, I just wanted to make sure, get to a certain comfort level. I said, I don't mind signing up and let's see how it goes for the first month, but if I go 6 months and I don't get one single lead, like I said, it's just too much money. All of a sudden now my cost per lead, became, or per deal, let me put it like this, became astronomical, and just didn't pencil out.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just making notes of this real quick. I mean, that makes sense, absolutely. In terms of guarantees, so it's kind of a funny word, and being somebody, it sounds, just from listening to you, Steve, it sounds like you have a lot of experience, not just in business, but in communication. So I appreciate that, it's refreshing. And the reason I want to bring that up is because I feel like we can see eye to eye on this whenever I say the word guarantee is a funny word. And the reason why is because we sometimes confuse guarantee with justification. So
reasonable statement.
Yeah, and I just want to be realistic with you because at the end of the day, like I can't guarantee the sun's going to come up tomorrow, but I'm extremely confident, right?
Of course.
there's some things I don't have control over, and unfortunately, Google, Facebook, and these other platforms that have all these eyeballs on it that we drive these internet leads from, unfortunately, they're always constantly changing, and we're good at what we do, but at the end of the day, that's why the word guarantee is like saying the sun's going to come up tomorrow. But that doesn't mean that we should not have very clear expectations as to what you need to see as a return in order to even justify continuing a partnership with us over X amount of time.
Okay.
So
that's reasonable.
Yeah, and like I said, you probably already noticed this by now, but I like to have things very clear before moving forward. So
yes.
So I know that your purchase, your contracts, right, whenever they do business with you, I know it ranges around 250. Is that right? 250,000.
Yeah, a small one, might be. I mean, the smallest deal we've done is probably 50,000. I'm just closing a deal. This is internationally outside the country for $101 million.
Okay.
This is more commercial scale, so that's it's a different animal, altogether. Although that is something at some point, I want to get through this and describe some other stuff that we're working, and possibly it could be of some help.
Yeah, I think focusing on this first would be a good start. We don't want to be all over the place starting out. There's a lot of moving pieces that go into putting together a successful campaign, so I appreciate you understanding that.
Yep.
Are you familiar with how long your sales cycle is whenever you drive? I know you're driving in referrals right now, but we'll just talk about that since we haven't worked with cold traffic yet. But what is your sales cycle from the time that you have an initial point of contact to the time that you have inked a new contract?
From initial contact to contract, it does vary, but I'm going to say we're probably, a minimum, best case is probably 3 months. More than likely, though, it's more like 6 months to 8 months turnaround time.
Okay.
Okay. The reason being, just so that you understand, I'm dealing with banks. I have to put all the financing together, for these guys. Initially sizing it. I may get a contract conditionally, like I say, within a 1 to 2 month period, because I can do a sizing, but it's getting to, to where it becomes a real contract. It's binding, but there are caveats, because obviously if I can't place the guy with the financing, deal is dead. It hasn't happened yet, because usually we qualify pretty well, and because of the amount of effort and paperwork and the filings, with the banks and dealing with all of this, you're not going to, take a shot on a guy whose credit doesn't check out. So that's usually the first thing that we do.
Awesome.
And most companies, their credit's good. Otherwise they shouldn't be. They won't be in business long.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you guys aren't new to this. It's not your first ball game, right? So that that helps me segue into the next piece of this. I'm going to backpedal to this question I want to ask you in regards to your sales cycle. I want to fast forward a little bit, then I'll backpedal to that. So you told me that in the terms of working with somebody that has a lower credit score, you're not going to. So I'm assuming that you're probably not trying to attract that. So what, in your definition, what would a quality lead look like to you? Like every component of a quality lead.
Okay. Basically, number one, they have to own their building. Okay, number two. Number one, it doesn't have to be the same corporation. Many of the companies that we're dealing with, have separate holding companies for the actual real estate. Okay. For business purposes, they pay rent to themselves. Some of these guys have exit strategies that they would like to, build the company, sell it, but continue to generate income by owning the facility or the property, with it. Also, in case something happened with the business, that the property cannot get tangled up in some sort of litigation, that it's sheltered, from that sort of scenario. The other thing is that, the guy that we get in contact with 8 to decision maker. Okay. Preferably, it'd be good to meet with his accountant as well, but like I said, that can come afterwards. A lot of the businesses, they're smaller, smaller family-owned companies. For example, I just did a job for a Boar's Head meat distributor out of Essex, Connecticut. So and it's family-owned. Typical scenario: the property is owned also by the family, but in a separate corporation. Okay. So, as I say, I sat down with the owners of the business, which was family, and it worked out, very well. The other end of the spectrum, some of the larger ones, I've done 6 projects so far with Intel Corporation. Those are the guys that make the chips, I guess, for the computers. So I've done a couple in California with them, about 5 of them in Phoenix area, Chandler, Patillo, and then also in Austin, done work. Some work with the military even too, so as I say, the same thing, it's a little different, Intel is one of the longer, run rates, as far as turnaround from first contact, because of all the hoops you have to jump through and corporate approvals, etc. So that would be like the gambit, from a small family-owned to a Fortune 500 company.
And you'd be okay with any of those, correct? In between?
Yep.
Okay. I'm just making a note of that. So just kind of recap in the terms of what you determined to be a quality lead, somebody that owns their own building. Some of these guys having exit strategies, which I'm assuming would probably be a great opportunity for you in the terms of you might get a cut on the buyout.
Yeah, there's a possibility, yeah.
Yeah, and then the small family owned up to Fortune 500. The other piece that you told me was you'd like to get in touch with a decision maker and preferably the accountant. Are there any specifics of information that you would prefer to have for that decision maker outside of their first and last name?
Yes. What would be very helpful is electric bills, 1 year of their utilities. This way, here I can go in with a pretty much almost a full proposal. I can do all the scenarios as far as the cost to do the project. Using their energy bills is one of the things that we tout is that we guarantee that we will reduce their overall spending. Not actually, one of the biggest sales is not increase their monthly. Just trying to think a second here of the terminology I would use. Their monthly expenditures, not one nickel, and probably reduce them. A lot of it is done through redirection of an existing expense, namely the utility bill. So like I say, in the case of Boar's Head, just so you have a better understanding of how the economics, work. The project. I'm going to invent some numbers for you because it is confidential, but basically, let's just say that they were at about a $300,000 project for us. Okay, there was a federal, they call it ITC, or an income tax credit, federal government of 30%. Okay, there's also what they call a renewable energy credit. Okay, which is not every state has it. Many of them do. Generally, it's pretty much our coastal areas. And what this amounted to was an annual rebate from the utility, okay, of roughly $14,000 a year for the next 15 years. They would get a check from the utility fund. Okay, they don't have to put up a nickel. All right, the cost of this was roughly, I think it ended up netting out at about $2,900 a month on the note. Okay. Now, again, you realize that eliminated his utility bill, which was roughly, depending on the month, $3,200 to $3,800 a month. So that's gone. he's getting back a federal tax credit, okay, of roughly $80,000. He hasn't spent a dime. So his first year write-off, and he does have the tax appetite, is $80,000 of money. He hasn't spent a dime. He's getting it off his taxes up front. Okay? He makes that payment. Every year he's going to get the $14,000. His overhead. I've increased the value of his building, and like I said, removed all the costs, involved. So the biggest objection that I get from people on this is, this can't be true. This is too good to be true. Like I say, you're not going to avoid your utility bill. So why not do this? You get the 80 grand back. You're going to get a check back for $14,000 every year. And the bill that you're paying on the note, which is also tax deductible, okay, is, an investment in your building. So, basically, and it will increase over time. Generally, we have an internal rate of return, or an IRR, of, generally guys out within, I think, 2 years. In this case, and it will change depending on the location. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we're familiar with like the benefits of what you do. And the thing is, whenever you talk to somebody, we're not going to dive into this because this is what we do on the side, and it's getting lost in the weeds. So we're not going to worry too much about this part of the conversation. But just to put you at ease, to let you know, we don't want to project all of these super details to somebody right away because A, like you said, they're going to feel it's too good to be true, and B, if they have questions in regards to this stuff, you want to make sure that you have the opportunity to address those on the phone.
Right.
Because yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted you to have a better understanding of what goes on,
Oh yeah.
In the sales process here, and the benefits of doing this. Of course, your job is, would be to, make the appointment, get us in the door.
Right.
So to speak.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I feel like you were just trying to show off your skills and your knowledge. No, just kidding.
A little bit.
Well, I got it. Message received. So, okay. Well, very awesome. So that covers a lot. Can I kind of backpedal a little bit?
Sure, of course.
So I know you said you'd like to have first and last name, 1 year of electric bills. Would you like to have email, phone number? Is there anything else that would be like important to you in the terms of contacts for the decision maker?
I mean, obviously, we got to have a phone number and an email so that we can communicate, with them.
Anything else that would be like of importance to you?
And then, like I say, it would be great to get an electric bill, but not absolutely necessary, because once we go to schedule it, it's going to be something that we can request that they get to us ahead of time.
And then you'd like to have their accountant on the phone if possible.
Yes, or, possibly at the meeting. However, ultimately, we will end up, forwarding a spreadsheet or a balance sheet over to their accountant. So whether it's them, whether they want to reach out to the accountant, a lot of times guys don't want to share the tax information, as far as their tax brackets, etc. So like I said, it'd be nice to have it if you can get it, but it's not an imperative.
Okay, awesome. So I know before you were discussing booking the appointment in the terms of that's what you kind of addressed one of our responsibilities to be in a prior part of this conversation. So do you have a team to qualify these leads that we bring in, or are you wanting us to qualify these leads that are brought in? And when I say qualify, sorry, let me make sure that we have.
What would be a typical qualification?
Yeah, so in the terms of qualified, I just mean we can bring the leads into you from direct point of contact to where you get their first name, last name, email, phone number. And then the 1 year of electric bills is something that we haven't included in that. But that's something that we could include to make sure that they have readily available, assuming when they hop on the call with you that it's something they want to move forward with.
Right. We we will want them. Only reason why, because, you know, obviously the address of the building, but I can do all of my, you know, I have pretty much a built-in spreadsheet that I can put together, and I just plug in some numbers and it will spit it out so that we can really helps with shortening that you know, first contact the contract, because I can go in there with all the documentation that is needed and show them basically a contract price for the job and how the cash flow and everything will work.
Awesome.
So then they can go right to their accountant, and the accountants, I have not had an accountant say no to any of this, you know, so, you know, like I said, the hardest part is just getting in the doors.
Yeah, an IRR of 2 years, that's what I'm saying. Like, this stuff it's a no-brainer. We just want to draw in the right type of people.
Right.
And are you okay with us qualifying them a little further beyond just name, number, and email by asking them if they already own their own building, if they're interested in exit strategies, the size of their company? Would you be okay with us asking those questions as well?
I think that would be okay, you know. You know, obviously, if the guy doesn't want to spend the time and give you the information, then, you know what, just say, so-and-so, Mr. Elkin will be in touch with you, you know, and go from there.
Okay, awesome. Perfect. Well, that sounds good. Do you have any questions in regards to how we're going to qualify these leads for you? Is that in-depth enough, or are you looking for anything additional?
You know what? Basically, the person has interest, okay? They own their building. One other thing, you know, we do like to see at least, perhaps a mandate that we have to have at least 20% equity in Connecticut. You know, again, I'm speaking about just in Connecticut right now. Okay, we will be expanding, you know, beyond the borders here, probably into Florida, as I said, Texas, and possibly the West Coast. You know, probably in San Diego or LA area, you know, in the next, you know, year and a half. Okay? So,
awesome.
It will grow.
So, Steve, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
It's a more personal question. Is that okay?
Well, I'll decide if I answer it. You can ask it.
So, Steve, do you like me?
Well, thank you.
Do you like me?
Well, you seem very pleasant. You're a nice-looking man, you know. You know, you have a nice smile and a nice laugh. You know, I don't know about Jordan, though. He's been pretty quiet in the background.
Oh, man, I can talk. It's just Rob's doing a good job at the moment, so...
As long as he pays me, he doesn't have to say anything. So.
Yeah, exactly.
No, good.
Exactly.
And if you and Rob want to run off, I can leave this conversation if you guys want.
No. It's fine.
So,
you know, I appreciate. You know, Jordan's been very patient, you know, with me, and I do appreciate that, Jordan. Like I said, a couple of meetings, some weird stuff has just been happening in my life. You know, so,
You're more than welcome.
Lightning strike, you know, last week, my boiler ended up, you know, leaking all over the basement, and yeah, it's just been crazy.
Crazy. Well, Steve, the reason why I ask you that question, I know it sounded really funny, and I bet no salesperson has ever asked you that before. But the reason why is because the next thing I'm going to say to you, you're not going to like. So I just want to make sure that you liked me a little bit, so you don't hang up right away. So
there's an old sales saying that nobody ever bought anything from someone they didn't like.
Well, perfect. In that case, let's not even go over the rest of this. Let's just get the payment. Let's rock and roll. It's funny.
Yeah, let's get. We went all over some of the good stuff.
Yeah.
Let's get to the bad stuff.
Yeah. So here's the bad stuff, right? Or quote unquote bad stuff. It's not a bad thing. It's just I like to make sure that the facts are clearly on the table when you see all the cards.
Yes.
So your sales cycle. The minimum is 3 months, but the maximum is around 6 to 8. So your average sales cycle is going to be probably around 6 months. Is that right?
That's reasonable. That's reasonable.
Okay. So the only reason I want to bring that up, and again, this isn't like a bad thing, but it's something that we definitely want to address. It's the facts on the table. For us to partner up and for us to do anything less than a 9 to 12 month agreement, would be incredibly counterintuitive to the success you're looking to see. I've seen this happen a lot early in my career. Have you ever heard of the company, the Yellow Pages?
No, it sounds familiar. It used to be pretty popular.
Yeah, they used to be a thing. So, so I was with the Yellow Pages years ago, more specifically about 5 years ago or so. But the thing is, with the Yellow Pages, it's happened all the time. We see this happen all the time with some of my colleagues in the business. And we would partner up with a company, and it wouldn't be for a long enough duration of time to see a result, because the sales cycle, same thing for when we work with attorneys and just nursing home negligence, their sales cycle is around 8 months. So we had to do 12-month contracts because, similar to you, the payout's large, right? It was about $250,000 or so. But the thing is, the sales cycle is 8 months.
Gotcha.
So I just want to make sure that we have the right duration of time. Realistically, if we were, for us to generate the amount of leads that you would need, so let's say that dealing with cold traffic, you're closing at 30% instead of 85%.
Which is probably pretty, could be real.
Yeah, so we typically see anytime that referrals, which are normally closed between 80 to 100%, cold traffic is typically dealt with between 20 and 30%.
Oh, yeah, industry standard.
Yeah, it's pretty standard stuff, and again, it's just averages. It's not that it has to deal with you specifically. It's just averages. So that being said, in order for us to do that, because I'm just going to reverse engineer these KPIs because you sound very intelligent, so I know they can follow on this. Yeah, but for us to generate 5 leads in month 1, which for contracts of this magnitude that are that qualified, in that closing rate, you would be looking at maybe one person that would move forward with you over the next 6 to 8 months.
That's correct.
So
what I'm more interested in is the lead.
Yes.
In other words, if you're doing the job and the leads are coming, and it's my problem, I'm not closing them.
Okay.
And I promise you, I'll close them if I have decent leads.
Okay.
Like 1 out of 3 is pretty standard stuff.
Okay, awesome. Well, that was an easier conversation than I thought it was going to be.
No one died.
I mean, clearly, yeah, it's not your first rodeo. All right, well, that was kind of the big bump in the road. Just because in the terms of dealing with this, your returns, I mean, they're pretty inevitable. To be honest, regardless of what you do, that's what's so exciting about your line of work. But that being said, there's always ways that we could optimize to increase margin. So that's always the goal, in this longer term partnership. Our generation uses that term long term, but we're talking about a year or less. But
I would hope that again, that everything is going fine. I have people that I've dealt with, honestly, that I still go back to that I've dealt with for over 30 years. And these are investors that come to me, and not every deal was a winner, but as I say, that I did my job and I enjoyed working with the people. And too many people nowadays, some of the younger generation, they're not as personable, as far as the personal relationship with people. Like I say, you go in for customer service. Case in point, it's a restaurant yesterday in Boston. I can't think of the name of it. Just opened up, and it's so cold, you felt like you were, taking a number in a place, and this was high end. I mean, for lunch we dropped $150, so not cheap. It's over by Legal Seafood downtown there, not too far from Copley Square. Stewart Street maybe, or one of those anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But, as I say, a lot of the value is placed on the relationship. I would say it's important that you like the people that you're dealing with.
Right.
And it's got to be a fair and square deal for everybody.
Yeah.
That goes around. And if you're producing, hey, whether I'll be still involved, I don't know. It's like this big deal in Chile. I'm building this system, working with a Korean group, and in 3 years it's done, and then I'm flipping it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm out of it. I'm not going to manage this solar farm for the next 25 years.
Right.
And we cash out now. I'm not going to be running to Chile to fix a solar collector. So.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I mean, obviously, I knew you'd be thinking farther ahead, so I kind of assumed as much, which is awesome to hear. Secondly, I feel like that bill is probably that high because maybe Steve had a few too many old fashions. Can we at least agree on that there? So, I know I would have been in a restaurant like that.
Actually, I'm a bourbon on the rocks guy, so.
I can respect it. I can respect that. So before we start talking about next steps in the terms of monthly cost and contract duration, because those are going to vary depending on on length.
Yep.
So what is your profit per deal right now because I understand what the contract worth is, but what is your cut on that?
Generally speaking, gross profits are about 30%.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, pretty standard for business. I'd say on nets, hoping, like I said, it's been high lately because I moved my office back to my house. I eliminated $8,000 a month in overhead, so they're a little bit high. But as I start to add, the margins will slim down a bit, but the volumes should grow. So it should, more than offset.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so which is perfect. So we're just going to go ahead and roll with that number 30%, since that's typically what it's going to be. And in terms of discussing this from a longer term standpoint, like with our partnership. So right now your average deal is around, I'm a numbers guy, so just kind of bear with me. If you get tired of hearing me talk, then just say, I don't care, Rob, let's just do the deal. That's fine.
I'm a numbers guy too, so done.
Okay, perfect. So your average deal is around $250,000 is your average total commercial contract.
Correct.
So as of right now, you're bringing in about $75K from that contract, what you guys get to pull with a 30%. And your, max worst case scenario contract could take 8 months.
Yep.
Okay, is what we're looking at. So knowing that, and you're closing at about 30%, which your close rate should be totally fine. Our goal is to put a few in the pipeline that close within the first year, within the first quarter working with us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this way it's going to help us project your pipeline so you know what's coming in. I know, when working with attorneys in the past, this is just my prior career at the Yellow Pages. Maybe that's why I'm so particular about the things I say, but working with attorneys and dealing with that's how we were able to project our pipelines to see how many qualified leads came in Q1, so we knew how much we were going to drive in for the year.
Yep.
So that's how we looked at that. So I like to look at your business the same way, because just the way it's structured and your profit margins. So very awesome. So that being said, we talked earlier about justification over guarantees. So I want to kind of bring that up one more time before we talk about duration and monthly investment. So if you were to invest with us and we were to drive in, let's say 2 deals on average, which you would profit $150,000 from, what would you need? What type of returns would you need to see if you were to spend, let's say, 10 grand a month with us? What type of returns would you need to see in order to justify doing that for a year?
I'll have to analyze that one.
Because it's not that you're going to spend $10,000. You could spend more. You could spend less. I just want to make it's an easy number.
I understand. You're just grabbing some numbers here.
Yeah.
I have to do a spreadsheet on this to actually analyze the value of the leads. It's one thing when it's on the come, if you know what I'm saying.
And I want to focus less on the leads for this part, Steve. And the only reason why is because if you spend $120,000 a year with us, and you know that your margins are 30%, I just want to know how much of a return you would need to see on that spend in order to justify spending it with us. Because what's great about ads is it's 100% write-off. So you have that under your belt.
Well, generally, what I've given to guys on lead generation has been in the vicinity of about a 1.5% to 2%. Okay.
1 to 2%.
Of the gross. Okay, so You know, as I say, once it goes to contract, we get our deposits, and then I've distributed the funding, you know, with the people. And that's generally how I've done it in the past. Okay, but this is old school, you know. It hasn't changed that much either, you know. Say I just put together, you know, another deal for another guy. That was a big one, you know, but it was, you know, roughly about $100 million, and I got, you know, 1.5% bump.
Yeah.
You know,
nice.
So not that much, but you know, like I say.
Yeah, no, it's good. And in terms of like paying out
for a few days.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And in the terms of paying out for, you know, them going out to find that lead, and it's rocking. And you know, obviously those numbers are great. So I don't want to discredit that at all. I just want to make sure that this partnership is going to work for you, because if it's not, then, you know, we're not going to lead you on.
No, it has to work for both of us, because if, you know,
right.
Obviously you're not going to do it if it's not lucrative.
Right. So
I'm more concerned about a fair deal, you know, and structuring it. And, you know, I like everybody to have a little skin in the game, you know. Once, you know, as I said, once it's proven and we're hitting a stride, I don't have any issues with it. You know, it's, you know, and like I say, you've been around long enough to know that. You know, a lot of people come in with pie in the eye, and, you know, I'm going to do all kinds of great things. Like I said, one guy at one of the meetings yesterday, I was sorry to get off point a little bit, but as an example, you know, we had a guy working for him, a salesman, 9 months. The guy has not brought a deal in, and he's paying this guy every week. You know, I said, what should I do? I said, the guy would have been going out 6 months ago, you know. So, you know, as I say, there is a turnaround time, but, you know, when you see that, you know, absolutely nothing, and nothing in the pipeline, which is even worse, you know. So, you know, anyways, I think you got my drift.
Yes, I do. Well, here's what I like to do. I want to make this a little bit easier on you, because I know that you want to make sure this is going to work. I know your biggest thing with the guarantees is that you're afraid of not getting in the amount of qualified leads in order to justify the spend based on what would be in your pipeline to close. I get that. Yep. So that being said, we have a couple different options that I know will work for you. So I'm just going to skip right ahead to that, because it sounds like this would be easy to justify, as long as you could see those leads coming in, because you know how to manage your team.
Yep.
Okay. So this is how we'd be able to do this. We have 3 options. And if these sound good, let me know. And then, you know, Jordan handles sending the contracts and all that stuff over, so he can do that. Just because, you know, he owns the company, so you'll be dealing with him with that stuff. So option 1, which is what most of people partner with us, is $3,500 a month for 12 months. The reason why I like that option for you is because it's going to be incredibly easy to justify the spend. Now, we have higher level programs. What I'd like to do is to get our feet wet with this, to show you that it works. Anytime that you want to increase throughout any point in time, we can do that throughout your contract. Okay. Option number 2 is we have a 6-month agreement, but to be honest, I'm going to bump it to 8. And the reason why is because it doesn't make any sense for us to do anything less than 8 months, if that's going to be like the maximum amount of time it can take to close a contract.
Okay.
Is that fair? Does that make sense?
That, you know, I'm listening to you. I'm understanding. Okay, so like I said, I need time to digest. You know, but you know, I'm following exactly the thought processes from your perspective. Whether I agree with it yet, I'm not sure yet. But you know, I hear you loud and clear.
Okay, awesome.
And it sounds reasonable. Okay, so.
Yeah. So with that level of contract, it's only $4,000 a month. Okay, for 8 months. And you know, I'm not going to treat you any different in terms of how these expectations are set up, the same way I didn't for other lines of business that have, you know, sales cycles of anywhere between 6 and 12 months, because it's just not going to make sense. So let me segue into option 3 now. Okay, this is going to be kind of the opposite of what I just said, but it is a 3-month agreement. Now, if we did this, which I'm not as enthusiastic about, we would have to have different expectations in the terms of success, because you're not going to close the deal more than likely in 3 months, right?
Right. I mean, that's my best case scenarios.
Right. That's the very best case scenario, and obviously we love to shoot for the stars, but those aren't the expectations we set.
No.
So that being said, if you would prefer to try us out, right, then we can do a 3 month, but the expectations would have to be around the leads that came in, not the actual words. Yeah, not the actual.
I understand.
So if you're willing to try us out, we do have a 3 month option at $5,000 a month for 3 months.
I'd rather consider this longer term.
Me too. Yeah.
Because of the fact that, as I say, I would know in short order, because if you're not performing, I'll know. It's something that'll be very obvious. If you would, though, not if you would, get me these 3 options. Service, you're going to provide a little bit of detail so I know what's going on. All right. And then, I understand the 3 options. I think, basically saying, okay, this is what we can safely say, that I'm going to get you 3 leads a month, 4 leads a month. Okay. And, as I said, I'd like to keep it going long term. I don't want to start with something and then have it fall back on me.
Right.
Where I got to go through this whole process again. I mean, so far, Jordan has shown really nice diligence, even more than, with putting up with, me, and you as well, Rob. Like I said, very nice presentation. And
thank you.
I see diligent, yes. And you're young and you're aggressive, and something I would like to support that. Like I say, get me the stuff in writing. Give me a little bit of time to digest. Okay, I would probably want to start this. I don't know what your time frame is to put everything together, but at some point in September, to kick something off. Then we go ahead, like I say, I think I'd rather do a 1-year contract. The one season that gets slow up here is the first quarter. Although, because what happens, a lot of the companies, depending on the size, the smaller companies not so much, but they haven't received their budgets yet for their facilities and et cetera. But that might change. And the second one, maybe by then I'll have the Florida operation, operational. And
yeah.
We'll go from there.
Yeah, that'd be exciting. Yeah, I appreciate the transparency, by the way, Steve. So yeah, I agree. I mean, obviously the longer term one makes the most sense out of everything. So I appreciate your understanding. I figured you've been in the game long enough to where you get that. So I want to address the start date. We can start whenever you want, right? That's obviously your prerogative. But that being said, if you wanted to start in September, we want to move on getting this done within the next week. And the reason why is because we need to build the campaign out. So if you want to start by September to make sure that we can hit that deadline after obviously everything get approved by you, that would be our time frame.
Okay.
So that being said, do you prefer us to only send over the 8 and 12 month?
Yes.
Okay. And what I'd like to do is set up a follow-up time to make sure we can answer any questions you have prior to moving forward. And then on that call, and if you need to bring anyone else on that call, you can. It sounds like you're the only person that would need to pull the trigger on this.
There are a couple of people I do want to discuss it with, because I am adding some product line, as well. So
okay.
All in the solar vein, though.
Cool. Yeah, that's great. So you and Jordan can, get all that coordinated in the terms of let's plan this out for next week, right?
It'll actually be the week after, more than likely.
Okay.
I have to start it a little later because, like I say, I have to meet with the people involved here, and that's going to happen next week.
Oh, okay.
From then, okay.
So we'd be looking at the week of the 16th. That's cool. Yeah.
Okay.
And we get up as fast as we could, but realistically, it's probably going to be around 2 to 3 weeks. So maybe like first or second week of September, it would be live.
Yeah, that's I got you.
Okay. Cool. Well, Jordan will send that over. We'll send over the $4,000 for 8 months, and then the $3,500 for 12 months. And then you guys can.
Can you get us a reference or two, a couple of references?
Okay.
But just like like I say, you guys seem like good guys, but I have to do diligence.
Totally.
Of course.
Yeah, and just in fair exchange, when you talk to them, would it be okay to also have them on the call with us? Because that's something that we would need to make sure we can answer any questions.
Possibly.
Okay.
Can you hold 1 second here? I have to answer this.
Okay.
I'm trying to get through. Just give me 1 second.
Definitely.
Hello? This is it.
Your Calendly link doesn't work the way you posted it.
Because I only have it out rolling 4 days.
It says the URL is not valid.
Oh, weird. I'll just take a look at it.
Yeah. So it's not showing up at all.
Oh, yikes.
The one you posted in the Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back.
Awesome. Welcome back to the party.
I have to get that because of some of the damage. It's the insurance adjuster that's coming over now to my house. So, if I don't answer, they don't come.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Well, I mean, this wraps everything up, right? So we'll send those over to you. Everything you asked for in the terms of most of the time we have to sign NDAs, but we're going to see what we can pull together for you.
I have NDAs too.
Okay.
If you want a sample one, I can send you one. But, like I say, I don't think there's anything sensitive that we've discussed here.
No, not here. I just mean with our clients, we sign NDAs. So for them, but we're going to see what we can pull together for you anyway, because we understand that's important.
Okay.
And then we'll send you over those 2 different agreements. So this way you can talk to the team.
Yep.
Cool.
Absolutely.
And then Jordan will schedule with you for the week of the 16th, and we'll revisit then.
Sounds good. Sounds
Sounds good to me.
Awesome, Steve. Well, I appreciate your time, and Jordan, it's always nice to see your face. So.
Now, by the way, Rob, where do you work out of?
I'm in LA.
Oh, okay. So it's early in the morning. Yeah, a little early for you, but not terrible.
Yeah, I made it. I made it up. I swooshed the hair. We're all good to go. So.
Where are you from? Are you originally, Los Angeles based, or born and raised in California?
Kansas City based.
Ah, okay. No, good area. Good area.
Yeah, we got some good old boys out there.
I'll let you go.
All right. Well, thank you, Steve. Thanks, Jordan. I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right. Have a good one.
Thanks, Steve. Take care.
You're welcome.
Hey, I'm going to hit stop recording. Okay, cool. So we're still live in the Facebook group, by the way, for this debrief.
Hello, guys. How you doing?
Boom. So, guys, drop in the chat.
If you can hear us.
Drop the 6,982 million in the chat if you know what's up. But no, seriously, drop any questions you have in the chat about the call that you just heard. A lot happened there. I'll discuss key takeaways and points with that. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that happened in that call. So, first of all, Jordan, let's debrief, bro. What'd you think?
Yeah, it's good. The only thing on my part is I hate not speaking. The less I speak, the more I just feel like I'm just like, not like sat in a rut, like I'm not warmed up. So that's the only thing on my part. On your part, you're closing machine, aren't you, really?
No, I'm just a good listener, man.
No, it's good. I can tell you do a lot of future pacing.
Yep. Yeah, the whole goal is to make sure that people understand where they're currently at, because most of the time they don't.
Yeah.
And then to also make sure that we can envision where they're going, where they haven't been.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
So, because remember, our only job as salespeople is to be an absolute phenomenal communicator, and the definition of that in the terms of, you know, how I teach it is to make sure we can help the prospect better understand their own conversation, and then to make sure that they know when they leave the call that we can take them from pain and bridge to destination with as less friction as possible.
Okay. Oh, so with the payments, is that not included in ad spend? Because it's going to need, so that the way that I've talked to a few people to do it on a commercial is to go Google Ads, have a landing page. Obviously, not everyone's going to opt in, so put a pixel on there, throw it all the way back over to Facebook, and then retarget those few people that didn't opt in, send them back down to that landing page. So with, if I use dash clicks or whatever, I don't know if that's going to cover 3,500 on 12 months. So is that without
It will.
ad spend?
So it will in month one, because to be honest, I don't think you're going to want to use Facebook for this. When I say I don't think, I'm like 90% sure you're going to use Google Ads.
Okay, so no retargeting on Facebook. I just thought that'd be a good way to like leave no money on the table.
No, and here's the thing. Rock Q, I see your comment in there. I like what you said for the guarantee. What happened before the call? Like, no, that was not discussed before the call. It's just really important to make sure that they understand the difference, because most people see guarantees as the end all, but it's because they don't understand what it's going to cost or what it's going to take for them to justify the partnership. So that's why we bring that up. I bring it up in every call. And if you frame it in the way that people typically tend to confuse the two, and here's why, and here's why I want to make sure we understand justification, they'll immediately turn on your side. They just need understanding. Remember, great communicators just help people better understand their own conversation. So in the terms of Google Ads, Jordan, the reason why I position this way is because, and we didn't talk about ads at all. Guys, also, if you notice this, we didn't talk about ads one fucking time.
I love it.
Not one time. And the reason why is because it's not the ads that get them there. Right? We just need to make sure that we help them understand the parts of the process. We don't need to go deep into the ads.
But even that, you didn't even talk about what we'll do for them. We'll talk about how we'll solve their problems, but no processes on like how we're going to do it. So he doesn't even know that we're going to be doing Facebook ads or Google ads or whatever. He just knows that his problem's going to be solved.
Exactly. Remember, people do not buy into something, they buy to get out of something. Does that make sense? Drop an 832 million in the chat if that makes fucking sense, and a light bulb just went off. People do not buy into something, they buy to get out of something. So for him right now, if you notice, like, his biggest thing was that he's looking to sell in the next few years. So for him, that's why he's now bringing on 6 salespeople, and he's also wanting to bring in inbound, which he's never done. You don't need to talk about ads. We just have to talk about, we need to help them better understand their bottleneck. Let them talk. So you notice I just let him talk the whole time? I just let him keep talking. And then that's why it's important to take notes, because you want to let him go down his track, acknowledge, agree, and then reframe if it's necessary, if his mindset's off track, right? Which you notice at the very end of the call, we needed to reframe, because he's like, well, I still need to be able to, like, I hear what you're saying, I'm listening to you, but I don't really, that's why we needed to reframe, because his mind was still stuck on duration and monthly investment. Because if he's paying out 1% to 2% per month, if he would have to be bringing in $1 million contract every month to be paying us $100,000 a month, or not $100,000. He would only be paying us 1%, so that'd be like $10,000 a month. We would have to draw in $1 million contract every month for him, in order for that to make sense from the way that business is typically done, the old school way.
Yeah, for referrals, then you go so deep.
Exactly. So we had to break that frame. And then, yeah, so once you do that, you don't need to discuss ads anymore. That's why understanding how to master the art of sales is like everything. So what other questions do you have about that?
Me or the chat?
I guess both. Any questions you guys have on the camera, or any questions you have?
Me, how do you want me to package the NDA?
Yeah, so in the terms of getting a screenshot, I would contact DashClicks just to see like what they could do in terms of that. If that's an option in their platform or anything of that nature.
But does he just want back-end screenshots of like campaigns, or what does he want?
No. For them, because they're going to be talking to the partners. Remember, the partners don't know ads either.
Yeah.
If you send them anything that has to do with a screenshot of a dashboard or anything like that, you're going to confuse the hell out of them. And a confused buyer always says no.
Yeah, of course. So, in an ideal world, what would a good package look like?
You're going to send them the 2 contracts, 8-month, 12-month, 4,000, 3,500. And then you're going to list out the KPIs we discussed on the call, which that Google Doc you sent me. I put all the notes I was taking in there.
Yeah. Of course you did. Okay.
You're like, of course he did.
References.
Well, that's where the references come in. So see if DashClicks has that available. Because with us framing the NDA,
Yep.
right? We framed the NDA as us possibly not being able to. That's why it's important to set that expectation. We've signed NDAs with our other clients. We're going to see what we can pull together for you, though. So basically what that means is it gives us permission to be strategically vague in the email we deliver. Now, you never want to be if you don't have to be, but you also want to be able to have the permission to be.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to give us that chance, especially because we don't run the ads.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as you grow in one niche, it's different. Oh, guys, can I just address real quick that I have never pitched a solar company, ever? Can we just address that real quick? Like, and can we address Jordan doesn't have any testimonials?
Little solar virgins right here.
Like, guys, this is the definition of savage in sales, where you could literally know, and you guys, you saw this in the headline of my mastermind in August coming up, but like, you could literally know nothing about the industry you're selling in, and if you learn how to master communication and sales, you can sell to fucking anyone and sell anything to anyone.
Sell me this pen.
Well, first of all, it's a pencil, I think. Is that one of those pencils?
It's a pen.
Oh, it's a pen.
Trying to be smart, me.
So, guys, it's super important to understand that, because once you become a great listener, nothing matters. And I bet the majority of people watching this, we still have a few dozen watching, is that I bet nobody's ever landed a $5,000 a month retainer. I mean, I don't say nobody. Sure there's people that have. But like, very few people will sell $5,000 or $4,000 retainers on that long of a contract duration. I mean, if anyone here that of the few dozen people watching have done that, put it in the chat. You know? So who has sold a $3,500 to $5,000 per month contract on an 8 to 12 month agreement? So Jordan set it up perfect. Solar is great because their contract duration is long enough, which we teach, you know, in our sales trainings, but to make sure you're picking the niche that fits that.
Mm-hmm. With the contracts as well, is that based on a $1,000 ad spend?
Yes.
Okay.
And the reason why is, here's the thing, contracts, commercial contracts, because I used to do this for, or not me, my buddy only sold contractors at the Yellow Pages. And it would cost a little bit more for commercial contractors. But $1,000 in ads, you're sitting pretty.
It's a whole different ballgame to residential.
Way different. But remember, you only need 3 leads a month. He said that number.
Yeah, it's quality over quantity by a huge amount.
3 leads a month, which is about $300 a lead. 3 leads a month at a 30% close rate, or worst case scenario, 20% close rate. He closes 1 deal, or has 1 deal in the pipeline to close every 2 months. You do that, the rest of the month, that's 6 deals in the pipeline. That's a minimum of 6 times 250, because his average deal is 250,000. So in the terms of working with you for a year, which his total profits would come in over 2 years, that would be 6 times 250, which would come out to be 1.5 million for only spending $120,000 with you. These are the numbers that are important to make sure that you can like follow. Because you can have a really quick conversation. Based on what you told me, here's what we're looking at. Is that still true? It's crazy, right?
Absolutely.
All right, cool, man. That was awesome. Get that together. Send that to him. You have his email, I'm assuming, because you booked the call. So.
No. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. Freaking getting it, guys.
Yeah, I'll get.
It's 8 a.m. here in LA. I'm closing deals in my underwear.
Me too, man. I'm seeing shorts.
So we're freaking getting it, guys. We're getting it on what is it, Wednesday morning? So.
Yeah, man. I'm still jet lagged as well.
Yeah. Well, we're on Facebook Live, so I'm not going to talk about just weird one-off stuff. So I will. I'll catch you on the next one, Jordan. Keep crushing. You always book badass appointments. Can I actually show everybody what you gave me when you pre-qualified?
Yes. It's got some confidential.
Oh shoot, that's right. Let me block that.
If you scroll down.
Yeah.
So don't do the.
The top part.
profile bit.
Yeah. Let me. Okay, there we go. So, guys, so I'll let you know, when you're an agency in a box, we give you scripts to be able to qualify appointments better. Agency in a box, guys, is geared to where if you're broke and you have no money and you know you want to start a digital marketing agency, because it's still a gold mine of a business to be in. As you can see here, Jordan's about to make 3,000 times 8 at a minimum on one client this year. Most people, that's like their 9-to-5 income. So I'm going to show you what Jordan filled out and gave me prior to the call. I've never met this guy prior. I've never sold solar prior. I didn't mention Facebook ads or Google ads because even though I understand them, it confuses people. So let me just show you what he sent me. Oh wait, I can't because we're on Facebook Live. Awkward. I just did that huge build up and I can't because I'm on Facebook Live.
Yeah, you can explain it though. It's not that.
Oh yeah, okay. I'll just explain it. Awkward.
There's a lot of headings. Just go through the headings.
Okay, yeah, so he put how does it operate, what their main bottleneck is, how is it different from commercial, like how is commercial different, a possible solution, and what does a lead mean, and then we broke that down more in depth as the call went on. And then what his website was and suggested prices that Jordan felt would be a good fit, which we ended up selling it for a little bit higher. It's okay, bro. Got your back.
Always do.
But cool, guys. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Jordan, I'm going to hop off.
Okay, thank you.
Alright, man. I'll book it for 2 weeks from now. And Chad, if you're watching, I'm coming for you.
Woo! Later, guys.
Alright, mate. Take care, yeah.
Whoops. Still live.